Start up yet. I'm up here playing around trying to find the right view. And I got these people in the background too. See, there's more people in your classroom. Look, all these are people. They got egos too. What? Yeah, that's a program. That's what the ego is. See how we talking? You're looking at the world different. And that's why we could do tree attunements. Now, can't we exchange energy? Mm-hmm. You can exchange energy with that tree. It's a person. You can exchange energy with these rocks. That's just another kingdom. So you're looking at the whole world different. And when your perception change, things start changing on how the energies is coming to you. You open up your mind. You became conscious to the light. Before it was blocked up. Well, belief systems, ignorance, all this other stuff. But when you start challenging it, it starts breaking apart. This is good, ain't it? Now this is a good one. We were talking about the spiritual journey earlier. Even that word spirit don't really exist, but we play with it. This is deep, ain't it? Those are training wheels. We're just saying it's another class of thinking. But even that got hijacked until you look at it for what it really is. Then it start narrowing down even more. So you can come whole. You can't come whole if you got all these categories, because there's only one consciousness. Why wouldn't it be? The universe is working in altruism. That's how it's thinking. That's wild, ain't it? And our bodies is working with altruism. A weak cell in this body, in your body, will sacrifice itself for the whole. That's just what it'll do. No questions asked. It wouldn't think the other way. I know I'm weak, but let's go kill off the strong one. It don't work like that. Those are the laws of physics. Now this is where it gets good. They got this thing called the serpent. Serpentine knowledge. You see it all over the world. But of course, in religion, at once upon a time, some people still think that they look at the serpent as being a symbol of evil. But when you start getting more educated, you'll say, wait a minute, that's not what it's dealing with. It just represents power. It ain't representing good or evil, just power. So like we was talking earlier about Star Wars, for instance. You got two different groups, the Sith and the Jedi, in opposition of one another. But they both know they're using the same force. That's all it is. They both know they're using the same force. They just got two different philosophies on how to use it. And then there's some Jedi that went to the Sith, and there's some Sith who became Jedi. How did they do that? They changed their philosophy. But it was still working with the same force. Oh man, are we saying this? So it's just like with humanity. You've been working with the light. Everybody is light workers, technically.
I was hearing Dr. Zach Bush saying your body is more efficient at putting out light than the sun is.
Yeah! You hear that? Your body is more efficient than putting out light what the sun is. We're going to get to that. Because that's what the game is all about. You do generate your own energy. Oh man, this is good, ain't it? Everybody glows. A rat glows, so ain't nothing to brag about. It do. It got an electromagnetic field. He working with the light. Why? That's something, ain't it? What type of world you live in? So now, but on the spiritual journey, the serpentine knowledge is actually, they say, is the highest form of knowledge. So you can see the deception when they made the serpent a symbol of evil to keep people away from it. But when you break that ignorance and go see what they're talking about, that's the highest form of knowledge. That's why you see the serpent all over the planet, going up the staff. And then electronics, they even got the sine wave. You ever see that? Going up and down, and got the line going through it. It is dealing with like modulation and all this other stuff. Yin and yang. They all saying the same thing. But why would they say that's the highest form of knowledge? Now they got two more paths. They got the path of the baby monkey. And they got the path of the kitten. And then they got the path of the serpent, which is the highest. Now let me explain them to you. You're going to say, you're either going to fit in one of those categories. The path of the baby monkey hangs on to his mother. But he trusts his mother that anywhere she takes him, that's the place to be. What else he gonna do? So there's a lot of people living a spiritual lifestyle, doing things to hang on, but they trust where the process is gonna take them. All right, y'all follow that one? But a kitten don't hang on to his mother. A kitten let go, and the mother has him in his mouth, but the kitten likewise still trusts his mother. Wherever she take me, that's where I'm going. So some people live the spiritual lifestyle just letting go, let things happen. One is not better than the other. Some are more aggressive on hanging on, and some just let go and let things happen. Those are two different styles of spirituality. We heard those two before. And sometimes you could go interchangeably. That don't mean you're stuck in one for the rest of your life. There's periods you might be hanging on with that philosophy. There's times you'll change up and let go. But now let's get to the serpent. This is a whole nother ball game. When the serpent is born, his mother is not there. Hear me now. He ain't crying either. Mom, where you at? Did you abandon me? No. And right away, wherever he goes, he trusts where he taking himself. What else he gonna do? This is where I'm gonna live. It ain't where the mother put me. This is where I'm living. This is where I'm going today. Not because my mother took me there. I'm going here today. So symbolically, you're growing into the serpent knowledge because you got to start trusting yourself. You keep saying all the universe is in you, so why you scared of everything? Mother, come get me. Well, I better hang on. You got to get to the point. That's why one of the things on a journey is letting loose fear. Letting loose fear. And that's a process. That's something, ain't it? Where you don't cry no more. That's when you start coming into the serpent knowledge. Serpent trusts what he's doing with himself. He don't even go looking for his mother. That's why the seeker is temporary. He don't even go looking for his mother. He ain't going to the Himalayas. He live in the Rocky Mountains. That's where he's staying. This is good, ain't it? So now, what we going to talk about? Since we opened up that door. Oh, man, there's so much. Oh. We're going to deal with, what's his name? Oh, man. Wait a minute. Oh, man. See, I'm making myself hide. I'm sorry to keep repeating myself. I do this all the time. See, when you're on this journey, even your own stuff, see, I ain't just teaching somebody else. I'm teaching myself. You think you got to listen to what I'm saying. I got to listen to myself all the time. That's messed up, ain't it? By the time it got to you, I dealt with it 100 times. What that you said again? That's messed up, ain't it? This is something. Like I told somebody one time, I was living by myself. And people thought I was living with somebody else because they heard people talking back and forth. You shut up. No, you shut up. Right. Till we solved it. They're like, who you live with, Marcel? Who was you with last night, Marcel? What was all that commotion? Oh, don't worry about it. It went down, but we solved it. All right. Now, here's a pamphlet called The Initiation of the Fire. Any of y'all ever heard that? The Initiation of the Fire. And that was written in 1922 by, let me see, what's his name again? Oh, man.
Manly Hall?
Manly Hall. 1922 by Manly Hall. Now listen at that date. 1922, he's writing esoteric knowledge. And when I picked up that pamphlet to share with you, that's the breatharian journey. But see, 1922 was a good time period. 1920 is when Yogananda came over to the West and said, what, electricity is in your spinal cord, that's God. He was coming straight forward. That was a good time period. So the late 1800s and the early 1900s, the esoteric knowledge already made it to the West, to the masses.
Mm-hmm.
But the masses wasn't ready. That's what it was. It's sort of like, what don't not being ready mean? All it means, you're going to get there eventually. What it means is, it's sort of like, one time I bought my nephew a suit. It was his birthday, but it was too big. Did I take it back? No. Don't worry, he'll grow into it. And he did, fast too. So that's what we mean by the growth of collective consciousness. Of course, they went through a period of whatever thought process that's not where it's at now. They had to grow into it even though it was there. But now they're growing into it. Meditation been around forever. Why are so many people talking about it now?
Mm-hmm.
You had to grow into it.
It's time.
Whoa! You ain't the only one went to the Himalayas. Thousands did and came back disappointed. But now everybody realizing they don't need to go there no more. You grew into it. Oh, it was already in my face. Yeah. Yeah, this is what age we in. We grew into the suit. So Manly Hall, when he wrote the Initiation of the Flame, that's a powerful title right there. You're being initiated into a flame. Well, let's see what the symbology of a flame is. The light.
It's 5, right?
Right, fire.
Like PHI.
Yeah, that's where they got the word pyramid, the firehouse.
Exactly. Yeah.
Paramediac. You need to be initiated by the fire, the light. That's how you transform. This was in 1922. That's what the breath theory of knowledge is. So that's why we say meditation is the foundation. Or what we were just doing was working with the light. Didn't you feel that? You was doing it. That's the flame. You need. And what do a flame do? Burn stuff up. That's how you become purified. Whoa. Burn yourself up. Till you go boom. Right. And going back to you saying, the human being generates more power than the sun. Now that's hard for people to believe. But if you go burn yourself up with the flame, you'll find out that's true. Because you would generate more of your own energy to come out. But the reason why it's not fully coming out, because it's blocked up. So he came out with the initiation of a flame. An initiation, what is an initiation? People always talk about initiations. Anybody?
Just getting
The word
into
just
it.
means a beginning.
The beginning. Your introduction. Here we go. Bob did his homework. So he just came from the Himalayas. He fed up, but he knows some stuff. Here we go. The beginning of the flame. The introduction to the flame. That's why he named it that very powerful title. Introduction to the light. So the breath theory of knowledge, all it's responsible for, it ain't responsible to prove nothing to nobody. It's introducing you to the light. That's up to you and the light. Oh man, did we say this? Now you don't need to follow nobody. You got your own light. Go work with it. That's what it's saying. Oh man, that's powerful, ain't it? You be talking about you the temple of God? Well, the flame was inside the temple. They told you all of this. So Manly P. Hall come out with the initiation of the flame. Let's see what he was saying. Oh, man. This is good. Now, they start out talking about, or I just took notes out of it. They was talking about the symbology of the black heart. They said, black heart, is that evil? But that represents also the spade that people work with. The grave digger's tool. And if you ever look at the deck of cards dealing with the spade suit, that's what they point at. That's esoteric knowledge. And it's upside down You might say, well, isn't that evil an upside down heart? But that's the sacral bone. That's the sacral bone. The gravedigger's spade. Now, we keep hearing in ancient times how the Temple of Jerusalem got destroyed. And other places on the planet got destroyed. Pyramids got destroyed. It doesn't matter. That's not you. But what got destroyed was the mind of the people. You the temple that got destroyed. So you got to use the gravedigger's spade to go up under the rubble of archaeology to go get the artifacts that's in you. Did they say this? You got to dig within yourself. Don't we always say you got all the answers in yourself? We say it, but do you believe that? It's hard at first, ain't it? But you got to start looking at your own belief system and putting it to the test. Like when I say the universe is user-friendly. I just got comfortable saying that. But there was a time I said it. I said, oh, that sounds good. Until the universe tried me or I tried myself. Everything's shaking. And then here I go having to argue with myself again. See, I got to listen to myself first. Didn't you say the universe is user-friendly? Why are you crying now? I'm telling myself this. Yeah, that is right. I better put it to the test or shut up. That's what I had to do to myself. Put it to the test and shut up. And it just wasn't no one attempt either. About 5, 6, 7 times. Didn't you say the universe is user-friendly? And I'm like telling myself, you shut up. Put it to the test. That's the only thing to break fear. But you know you grow when another situation comes and that comes straight up out of you. The universe is user-friendly. Oh, this will work itself out. You all right. Things start breaking. That's when your consciousness starts expanding. That's what brings more light into the body. Fear blocks it. Anger blocks it. All those little low energies blocks it. Like my one cousin used to say, yeah, ain't nobody care if you crying. Ain't nobody listening. That's what made her. That was her quote to make her stop crying. Ain't no use in crying. Ain't nobody listening. But that's the mantra she needed to grow. Stop crying. So you was talking about the gravedigger's spade, the esoteric black heart, which is the sacral bone. And I've been saying this in my messages who've been listening. The power must come from the root chakra. Everybody else want to jump to the crown, the third eye, because it sounds good. You know, put the dot on their head. My third eye open. Why? Because I put a dot on my head. Root chakra just blocked up. But that's deception again. But the esoteric knowledge ain't going to let you get away with that. Because that's where the nourishment is going to come at. When the temple, and you go in and get those precious artifacts that's in you, it's in the earth because the temple got destroyed. So you're digging to open up the energies. That's what that means. The energies in the sacral column.
Just like a plant.
Just like a plant.
You get their nourishment from the root.
If the root died, the plant is gone. If the branches get killed, we don't care about that.
It'll grow back.
It'll grow back. Same with us. Whoa. So the root is where the power is at. The initiation of the flame. And see, this is why it's the initiation of the flame or the light. There's 2 levels of also important elements in spirituality. It's the water and the fire. Water moves downwards. The fire moves upwards. Those are 2 opposite forces that go against different polarities. Water moves downwards. Fire always goes upwards.
And when they meet, water moves upwards.
Right. And when they meet, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Told you he did his reading. Matter of fact, his trip to the Himalayas just made him more powerful. You know it. And when they meet, the water moves upwards. Now we call it steam because it got heated by the flames. We could do the experiment.
But as a firefighter, the fire goes out
Water kills
when I
fire.
put some water on it.
Like, say again?
But as a firefighter, we put water onto the fire and the fire goes out.
Exactly.
So yeah, one turns to steam, water goes up.
But the other one goes out. So that's why on this, you need some good alchemy. Now, here's the deal. That's on that level. You're putting it directly on there. But we're doing something else because you got something to work with. The body, this area, they look at it as the furnace.
Mm-hmm.
The furnace. Even the Chinese got a thing dealing with, this is the pot where you cook at. It's filled up with water and the fire is at the bottom. What did you get if we did that experiment? It'll start boiling.
Yeah.
And the fire ain't going out because something's blocking it.
Yeah. In Ayurveda, they call it your Agni.
Ah.
And your Agni is your digestive fire.
Your digestive fire. It's all making sense now. Well, I wonder he named it the initiation of the flame. He was telling humanity this back then. But back then in the 1920s, a lot was going on. World War I was over with, getting ready for World War II, people looking for jobs, stock market crashed. Nobody was thinking about spirituality, so you can't blame them. Huh? Here it is right here. You ain't ready for it yet. Your clothes got to grow up. You got to grow into your clothes. But now all we did was just grow into the clothes. We just see every generation is the same generation. Oh, did we say that? We just all grew up. That's all. Now, so listen at that alchemy. The fire is in the sacral. That's where the power is at. That's why it must be unblocked. And they call that the Kundalini fire. See, all schools of thought is talking the same thing. And the sleeping serpent, the serpent must rise upwards. In Egypt, they're showing you that. The two serpents, the lower kingdom and the upper kingdom united. See, that's why mythicism means something to a true person on the path. To other people, it's just good poetry. We take it seriously, but we see the science behind it. And what's the science behind it? We just said it. And we go get a pot of water and start boiling it. And then we'll get that steam. And the fire's not going out. Now, we could do that with an external object. What you think this is? It's hot down here. Huh? What do you think this is? That's why they'll tell you in yoga, this is an instrument. You know how to use the instrument. You could do the alchemy. But people keep putting the fire out. Don't if you can also put the fire out by throwing something on it, like earth. Uh-oh, here we go. That says it all, huh?
Sly, Alexander. Nicely played.
So that's why on the breathing journey, you start lightening up instead of going heavy with the food. That's the earth element. And you keep throwing too much on the fire, that's why people having problems. And every time you use the bathroom, whether if it's number 1 or number 2, it's warm.
Mm-hmm.
It never comes out cold. You ain't that type of creature. You a light being. Things come out of you hot. That's the eternal fire. Hot. So the body is the furnace. So on this path, you got to realize that every day. And it's already filled up with water and salt. Or did we say that? Oh, I just added that salt. Salt. Salty water. And it already got the heat within it, and heat by its nature. And this is what people, the ignorance again, because that's why this is a science. How do you raise your Kundalini? And I'd be saying it doesn't on its own. But they can still try to think mythical. Now, why does it raise on its own? And we're talking about heat.
Heat rises.
Light. Heat rises. By its nature. It does it all the time. Keep trying to burn itself up. It's already doing it. The people keep what? putting the fire back down. That's the problem.
Yeah, so you stand upright so that heat can rise up the chimney, right? But most people these days are slouching, and they wonder why they got no energy.
Proper body structure.
Yep.
Oh, man, it's good. Oh, man. The spinal cord, I'm glad he said that. So going back to that, the spade in the card deck, not only is an upside down heart that represents the sacral, and also the spade to work with, it's on the stem that represents the spinal cord. It ain't hiding. You just got to understand and read the symbolism.
That's why it's in humans, because we stand upright, versus animals that don't. But the cobra will go upright, and hence the snake is one of those.
Listen what he said about the snake again. Give him a round of applause. Humans who's upright. But most animals is slumped down because the heat can rise upwards, and the serpent got the ability to go straight up. Serpent knowledge again. That's the powerful knowledge. Oh, man. And that's why in ancient time they keep showing you the staff, which we know represents the spinal cord now. And the serpents is going up the staff. Up the staff. That's the heat going up the staff by its nature, up the spinal cord. That's what's going to nourish the brain.
It's also the shape of the DNA.
The shape of the DNA. Moving upwards by its nature. That's why there's two pictures of Satan. Uh-oh. Did we say this? One got a tail, the other one doesn't. The one that got the tail was going downwards. You ever see that? They got that little... That means that the energy or the serpent is going down. That's just representing the person who's allowing their energy to stay downwards. We ain't even got to make it hard no more. The one who don't have a tail, that's why they say Satan is the fallen angel. It's just a person who's keeping his energy down. He became unconscious. He's not making the right energetic connections working with the light. It ain't got to be hard. Oh, man. This is what we're working with. So if something could fall or lose its consciousness, that means it could get back up or gain its consciousness. So when Manly P. Hall brought out the initiation of the flame, for him to bring that out, humanity was what? Fallen. That's why they brought it out. All that knowledge started coming out at about that time. Even the Moorish knowledge and all of that. And everyone I look at is saying the same thing, just dealing with that culture at that time. But everybody had to grow into it. So you can wake back up. That's how you wake it up. To get the energy in the sacral area to go upwards. Now, where did that fire come from? Why isn't it in the sacral area? Oh, I could tell you. Y'all ready? Because some people even call it sexual energy. But every time we think of sex, we think of something else. Y'all dirty buzzards. Here we go now. All right. Now, our fluids is down here. They do got a thing called spermiogenesis for a male. Spermiogenesis. They're getting created in the testicles. But the skin of the testicles is usually darker than the rest of the skin of the person. Why is that? Because there's some energy coming up through that way. So that's why even on the Taoist and stuff, they usually start with the Dantian up under here. There's heat already in this area. And for the female, her fluids is going there dealing with the ovaries. It's a different process. But her too, the edge of the skin of the vagina is darker than the rest of the skin because it's getting its own energy source. Did we say this? The marker's right there. So the energy's already there. You ain't got to do it. Now you just got to what? Allow it to come up with the process. That's the nourishment right there. Instead of keep allowing it to come down. Now you might say, well, why can't we just fast our way in? Because if your body is your mind, there's a certain way of thinking that will keep the fire down. What is the fire? It's the mind. Oh, well, I'm going to prove it. Y'all ready? Oh, man. The fire is the mind. Okay, so we said the body's the furnace. Then we said, because this is your laboratory, you're a scientist now. You got work to do. So you know you got you a furnace. First of all, you got to know you got you a furnace to work with. Okay, I got a furnace to work with. What next? Your organs and your senses is the test tubes. Because that's how you're monitoring your project. That's your project. This is good, ain't it? You know when your kidneys is feeling a certain way, what caused it, what ate it, this and that. You're working with it. You're taking notes. You're like a mad scientist. Up under your laboratory, serious about what you're working on. Then you start looking at your thought process because it can either block energy or allow the energy to flow. I'll give you an example. Y'all ready? Now, we always say yoga is about breath. You'll hear two schools of thought, and people get confused. No, it's about the expansion of consciousness. Somebody else says it's about breath. They're the same thing. Because when we say in yoga, breathe into the knee. Breathe into the knee. Now, you just don't go. You focus on that area, and the breath goes there.
The Russians do this in some of the operatives that I train with. You know, they go show up, battlefield's crazy. They breathe into the battlefield. They know where everything is.
Listen at that.
Say it again.
So they show up on the battlefield. They don't know what's happening. So you know, their practice was to breathe into the whole battlefield, so they know which troops were friendlies, which ones weren't, where everybody is.
Because somebody taught them that that's consciousness. See, people know. It'll start waking up. The game never changed.
Even the word spirit, it's in inspiration, respiration.
Inspiration, respiration, spirit, breath, the word. In the beginning was the word. The word became flesh. The breath became flesh. Adam became the breath of life. It's all the same thing. See.
I heard that.
Oh, go ahead.
That word, Yahweh, the original thing was actually a breath.
A breath.
And that's why they say it's not, the name of God isn't something that you can speak.
Right.
Yeah, because some people would check.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And look at it. If you're going to check, that means, see, I told you we scientists, check this stuff. See, we reading over it, right? It can sound all good. You can do two things. You go and say, well, that was good. That was a good retreat. Or you can lock yourself in the house. Don't let nobody in because you're working on a big project. No, don't do that. Everybody be knocking on the door. We ain't see you at work. I'm working on something. But it is a big project.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong project.
Right. The biggest project in your life.
Like the Hebrew word for soul means just breathing thing.
Here we go. Nimish or something like that. Nefesh. They all talking the same thing. All schools of thought is talking the same thing. That's why in the Great Arcanium, all religions is one. Once you understand it. Oh, I could get it here. It never was hidden. Because that's why I said in one video, there's only one civilization. There ain't this civilization and that one. That don't even make sense. Give you an example. Alexander the Great was running through Persia. He didn't kill every Persian. Those who was already in different positions that would help the kingdom, he kept them there. They're educated. Why you want to stab yourself in the foot? That don't even make sense. Was somewhere else, or like in World War II. A bargaining chip for some of the scientists, the Japanese and the Germans, was their work. We ain't going to hang them. That'll be stupid. Let's bring the work into the new kingdom. This is what we're talking about. So that's why the truth always been going from hand to hand to hand. Nobody destroyed it. It's too powerful to destroy. Truth take care of itself.
It's built into us.
It's built into us. Why? Because it's a science. The furnace never left. The fire never left. The breath don't breath oxygen help the flame go up? He knows it. You say you was a firefighter, huh?
Yeah.
I remember one time there was a fire taking place in this woman's house. And then we said, well, we calling the police now. And she was going to the front door and somebody said, no. When she opened up the door, that brought more oxygen in. So guess what happened?
Yep. Why you got a fire? Close those windows.
Yeah, she was in her mind, I'm going to open up the door so the wind could come in to put out the fire. That's not what happened.
The crossflow will have the fire traveling.
Had it traveling.
It'll
Woo.
put fire out of your house into the next house, into that house.
So we know this now. So breath work, it ain't so much the technique. You're using it to help with the heat that's inside you to get it raised up. We making things harder than what it really is.
Oh, that's right. That's the fire tetrahedron.
Hip.
You need oxygen,
Yep.
heat, and a fuel source.
Oxygen, heat, and a fuel source. And what did you call it?
The fire tetrahedron.
See, it's all in spirituality. But that's a science again. We could do that right here externally with things. You can do that. Spirituality ain't breaking the rules of physics. It never did. People think that because they want to think mythical. And ain't nobody resurrected. See, you ain't got to argue with nobody because this is what they wrote too. This is good. You can believe what you want to believe and have the habits you want to have. They will be destroyed once you're destroyed. In other words, that's when they'll leave, when you get destroyed. And guess who's going to destroy you? You, for holding on to it. That's why you got to learn to let go. That's wild, ain't it? Oh, they're going to leave one day once you get destroyed. You the one keeping it here. Oh, man, the rules ain't changed. So that's why the way we thinking is very important. It could block energies or it can allow it to come in. That's why unbelief is a big one. Now, it's all right to be skeptical. That's natural. But once facts come to your face, somebody putting it to the test, explaining it to you, and you still refuse, that's somewhere else. That's somewhere else. Oh, man, that's good, ain't it? And the universe don't care. Oh, well, don't go try to get them again. Oh, man. So that's why they gave the initiation of the flame, the introduction to the light. So now, and that's all the breatharian knowledge is responsible for, is to show you the value of the light. Just like that woman found out the value of those rocks in her yard was diamonds. If you don't see the value, why should you work with it? That's just in anything in life. I don't see the value in that. That's cool. But on here, now we're going to go into that word alchemy. Turning a base metal into gold. Thousands of years ago. Alchemy. So that's why you're a scientist. You're working with alchemy in your body. You want that fire element to mix with the water element to get it what? Good distilled and purified. So it can raise up the steam, which is the air element. That's why breatharian lives in the air. Your head is, you the animal with your head up in the air. This is the dome of the temple. So you want a good sacrifice coming up. A good fuel source coming up that you put together with the fire element and the water element. This ain't spooky. Oh, man. And when you're doing Qigong, what is that? There's some places you can feel it. Oh, man. I am stiff there. What you're doing is using the heat that's inside you, that's raising up by its nature, to burn stuff up. That's why I tell people when you're in that position, you feel it. Try to stay there so it can burn up. If you keep trying to move with it, you prolonging it. You're getting it out the way of the fire. No, let the fire do it. Let the light do it. Let the spirit do it. It will burn all of this up. That's all it is. Enlightenment is just a person that got rid of stress and tension out of their being.
A lot of times when I'm working with people deep tissue work and stuff, they come up, say they feel like they lost 20 pounds. It's just the dynamic sort of weight that's created by all that tension.
Y'all heard that? The weight, the dynamics of the weight on all that tension, and just by you doing the treatment on them, it feel like they lost a lot of weight. Stress on the body. And if there's stress on the body, it changed the thinking of the organism.
Like what Guru said, when you gotta pee, that's you releasing your pee or enlightenment. You're gonna choose pee.
Right.
Whatever's got the more stress, the release of that stress, you know, or all that stress really changes the way that you think.
Changes the way you think. Oh man, you see this? That's why it deals with consciousness. Everything is mental. And when we say the mind is the body, of course the average person don't understand it. The body's so stressed up. They don't feel their body. They're not in it. That's what we mean, they're not in it. They're saying, I am in it. Look, I can move my foot. You ain't in your body. That's what we talking about.
And either the body or the mind can be stressed, and it'll stress out the other.
Right. And then the mind could be stressed, and it could stress out the other. Because I tell people all the time, you ever seen a person got a good physical body, but they're mentally stressed out? It still did the same thing. They're tired, angry, mad, took the energy, all of that stuff. So we balance them out now. All these different bodies, emotions, what should we say? Mental body and the physical body. That's how you know your vibration is raised. Because it will automatically bring in the experience of happiness, joy, love, and peace. Man, when you feeling light in all three areas, that's something, ain't it? You do feel happy. Nothing don't even have to happen. You're like, man, I'm at peace. The problem is people just got addicted to stress. It's too peaceful. I feel too good to go call Pizza Hut. I feel too good. I'm not supposed to feel like this. That's the problem.
They're addicted to it.
Addicted to
The
it.
stimulation of stress.
The stimulation of stress. It makes you feel you're alive. You think you're losing yourself. That's all it is.
It's a little bit of death.
A little bit of death.
Can you say that again? You said stimulation of stress makes people feel alive. Can you do that?
I don't even know what I said.
So like I used to, like some of the people I've worked with who would cut themselves, they weren't cutting themselves to kill themselves. They were cutting themselves because they were so stuck in their mental nightmare that brought them back to their body and it made them feel alive. So a lot of people go to all these type of addictive behaviors just to, like pornography, which I was in for a long time, you know. Alcohol, drugs, whatever it was just like I'm in a mental nightmare, and those are the things that you intuitively know will bring you back to your senses.
Wow.
Right.
You're trying to suppress, and you're trying to push it down.
But it seemed like what you were saying is like, try to ask an angry person if they want help. They're gonna say no, because they feel alive, because now their ego is engaged, and now they're the most important thing. And
Oh, yeah.
so it's like it's a feeling of power.
It's a feeling of
So when
power.
a person is angry and they're in an angry state, they don't want your help to be not angry.
Right.
And you're saying that people are pretty much going around angry all the time, or
It's just what you said is in the makeup. I mean, a lot of people, and I've met people who know they got an anger issue,
they don't want
but they came back and said they do like it.
Because it's the solution to their problem.
Yeah.
Some people will listen to
It's
it.
a sense of power. It makes
The
things
ego.
move and do. Oh man, they ain't gonna let it go
I mean,
until they ready.
We're using magic spells. We say please and thank you. We use magic words. When those don't work, we get physical. It works, you know.
Right.
We're just solving their problems in a rudimentary way.
And everything we talk about is, see, that's the mental aspect and the emotional of the breathtaking journey. That's either going to keep the energy lowered or let the energy come upwards. Because what is the upward energy? The altruism thought process. It is.
That upliftment, that idea of feeling uplifted is our natural state.
The natural
So we'll
state.
push it down, out of habit.
Right. Oh man, whole different ballgame. That's the nourishment. Actually, the whole thing is a thought process. You know, the knowledge mixed with the thought process, and put that stuff together. Start working on it. Now,
One
even
YouTube, I'm sorry.
One
YouTube, you said you can't be an angry breatharian. And as I was driving here 25 hours, every little revenge thought I had me closing my eyes and getting tired. I said, oh, you can't be an angry breatharian.
You can't be
just
an
suck
angry
the energy
breatharian.
right out your head.
Right.
You said your brain needs energy. She's right. You were like, your brain needs it, and we suck it out with our negative thoughts.
Negative thoughts. So that's why we even had a retreat online where we did a week of, what did we do, Beata?
The week mental fast.
Mental fasting.
Mm.
It
Yep.
was awesome.
Yeah.
A week mental fasting.
Right there.
We can't leave it.
Yeah.
Still going on. Yeah.
Oh, man. Right.
Still doing it.
I also like remember that like every time like you forget to be grateful and be happy and like your thoughts goes away, the energy goes away. Just
Yeah.
Listen what he said. Every time you stop being grateful, the energy goes away. Now, when I was in India, there is a group called Conscious Yoga. And they loved when I brought that up. I said, because they wanted to know about the breath theory message, and I said the first foundation is gratitude.
Mm.
We ain't even talking about nothing physical and all. Gratitude. Oh, did we say this?
Yeah.
And they jumped, they was like, you're right. We got that. We got that. And then the one person, now this is his meditation. Every morning when he wakes up, he write down things, not say it, not thinking, he write it down on things he's grateful for. That's wild, ain't it? But that's his meditation.
Mm-hmm.
See, people taking stuff seriously. Because he said, what made him do it, he realized the conversation he had with himself in the morning. That's how he's going to talk to his wife. That's wild, ain't it?
And then it sets the tone for the whole day.
And it sets the tone for the whole day. Let me go over my gratitude stuff. And that don't mean it was no cakewalk. This could have been something that happened the evening before. But he still got, it's time for me to do my meditation. What am I grateful for under this situation? Okay, the list might not be big like it was yesterday. This is what we're talking about. So that you can work with the light. That's the nourishment. And when you're on this path, you'll feel it.
Mm.
When it drops, when it comes back up, through different thought processes. I even had to put myself in check a lot of times. Why is you thinking like that? Right, I talked to myself.
And to be honest with what you're grateful for, like, you know, some people try to fake it, you know, like you're talking about force.
Right.
It doesn't work it.
You can't fake it.
You can't fake it. You gotta be like on in that gratitude, journaling, you know.
Right.
You gotta, you know, even if it's the smallest little gratitude.
And the reason why you can't fake it is because when we said that energy of happiness, love, joy, and peace will hit you, that means, first of all, you had to be receptive to receive it. That's why you can't fake it. You had to be receptive to receive it. Other than that, you try to fake it, you didn't really receive it, so it'll show anyway.
Right.
Oh man, this is something. But that's nourishment. Whole different ball game. You start tweaking it more and more. But it's all dealing with what? First you're dealing with on a physical level. The center channel. The sacral first coming upwards. Every day there's an energy coming up. Boom, 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 boom. That's the nourishment. So you start being more aware. We'll go over it. We did an online retreat. We was talking about eating less. How to cut down your food. How to really do it. Master eating less first. Yeah. I tell people all the time, do I let go now? Well, have you ever not eaten before? You know, led the life without eating before? Well, no. I don't think that.
Over the ocean. Do I let go now? Do you know how to swim? No.
Right.
Don't let go.
Don't let go. Here we go. Cut it down. First, cut it down. And to do that is a science. Why is it a science? Because you're thinking through it. Write down your window of consumption. What do you eat? Everybody don't eat the same thing.
Science just means knowing.
Would you say the way you eat affects the amount of nutrient that you get from the meal? Like if you rush it, like maybe you could have got a solid 10 had you slowed down and took it like a medicine.
Oh, well, here we go.
You know, just that. And
Sure.
then, like, I don't even have to finish this plate. I ate with so much gratitude and presence. I don't want to finish this plate like I normally do. Wow.
I'm sure. Now, check this out. The beginning of your digestive system is your mouth
Or your eyes.
or your eyes.
Yeah.
Your eyes are
Let's go.
That's why the stomach
And
meridian
And your
starts here.
nose. Yeah.
Don't we say my eyes was bigger than my stomach sometimes?
And the smell gets your eyes to it.
Yeah. All those
All the
senses.
holes in your face.
Yeah.
And then there's memory like a dog. You ring that bell. You know, I know it's 5 o'clock. That's our internal bell. Oh, I must be
The Pavlov effect.
hungry. Yeah,
Yeah.
even though maybe you might not be, but now you are because 5 o'clock is dinner time. My 3 meals.
Now look how we was talking. He told us all of this initiation of the flame. The body is the what? The furnace.
Yeah, the furnace.
The heat is already there. The water's already provided. You got the tool to work with. The test tube is the organs and the senses. Y'all brought up eyes, nose. Those are your test subjects.
Mhm.
I mean, if you can't look at the Twinkie, don't look at it. You know that Twinkie store was down that street and you could have went it around the corner to go home.
Go past it.
I had like, I did an experiment at home with my kids because they're like a lot of them and they're loud, and we had like a really echoey house down in Mesa, and so I just had them all like and see who could last the longest, like
Right.
before dinner. So like we started with that, and when it went to eventually, and then it's just a little chant is all that happens, and then we sit quietly for a while, and I was just doing that to shut them up initially.
Right.
Gather all the sound into one and then cut it off. And then, but what started happening was I started feeling full after the chant.
Start
I'd
feeling
be looking
full.
at the food, but because I had introduced something beforehand, I'd be like, I feel really good. And then I just had to
Yeah.
wrestle with, but maybe I should eat
Maybe you
because
raise
they're
the
eating.
vibration of everything around you,
That's-
including the food. Now you got more nutrients out of your body's not
Yeah.
searching for more.
Now look at what y'all saying. See, this is what we're learning too on the breath and retreat. These different methods that we do. Sometimes we walk into it by accident, but you kind of see what happened. You're still working with the light, the flame. That's why chanting and all this other stuff, om and sounds coming off the room, you're dealing with the cosmic fires. These are different names for the same thing, to burn up stuff in the body.
Sound
Because
is
you
relevant.
said that we eat the same thing. That you're as a breatharian. You said we all are breatharians because we all breathe. The only difference is when you sit at the table to eat, you get all the nutrients from it. Where I'm walking around unconsciously, not even thankful for the air, and I'm getting maybe small
A percentage. This is what, it makes a difference when you know something. See, even a conspiracy theorist, one time he was talking about symbolism in society. And then somebody asked him, well, what's the use of you telling us this if we can't do nothing about it no way? He said it makes a difference when you know about it compared when you don't.
Mm-hmm.
It go both ways. It makes a difference when you know about it. Because when you know about something that's negative, you can block it. But when something is positive and you know about it, you'll get more out of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we talk about. It's still a mind. Well, everything is mental. See, on the path, even how we start out talking about the physical body as techniques and stuff, this is just a mind, but you have to come into the realization of it. You are an incarnation of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And beings of energy, your story about the sound. You know, sound is also energy.
Just the reverberation.
You know,
It's light.
color.
It's all the same thing.
Sound can knock you over.
So the more you learn about this, the more you work with it, and the more you know it, that's when it starts becoming a reality. This is good, ain't it? And we ain't got to go to the Himalayas to do that.
I did it. There's nothing there. There's really nothing there.
It's a pretty mountain there.
I mean, there's a lot of really amazing mountains, but this is also fabulous.
Go
Ah,
ahead.
right.
2-hour drive.
Yeah, right?
And what it boils down to is when the light leaves, degeneration sets in. When the light leaves, degeneration sets in. Now, I know, here we go. People on the planet again when you're dealing with them. Because, you know, a lot of people running around, we got the truth, we got the light, and stuff like this. There's no argument. When degeneration sets in, division sets in, the light is not there. That's how you know. The light brings people together, and it starts healing stuff. This is what it does. So I've been to many communities on the planet that started out with a good idea, really a good idea. The natural houses, eating a certain way, but they didn't keep the light.
Yeah,
They didn't know the value of the light. When the light leaves,
it all goes.
it all goes. You're just going through the motion. And I was at this one place one time. It started from a good idea. And a woman busted out and said, we started out like this. Working with the light. We started out like this. Then it left. And now this happened. It came through like a wreck. Everything else was through the motions. It's just the light. That's the power on everything. And I just went in that community. I saw them. I'm in the game and I'm teaching about the light. I know what it is. The light ain't here. That's why it's like that. Then when y'all start working, you start transforming everybody in the whole place. That's powerful, ain't it?
Yeah.
Everybody in the whole place. It don't play. So if it's doing all that, what about nourishment? Oh, man. Oh, man. So people just arguing against the light when they talking about the breath, air, and message. Not a person. You talking against the light. It can do anything. The initiation of the flame. So that's why when you're on a journey and start working with the light and stick with it to see for yourself what it can do, then you're addicted to the light. Now we're using addiction in a new way.
Positive habit.
A positive habit.
To addict just means to say yes to something.
Yes. Chocolate cake, yes. Oh, this is
The
good.
original addicts were actually, addictus was somebody who was devoted to something. So the original people referred to with that word were priests and Brahmins, and like they were actually religious people that were performing rituals to kind of maintain something. They were the original addicts, and then later it got pinned on.
Transmuted into
Right.
negative habit.
So going back to alchemy, electricity, some cultures they'll call it God, the electron, all this other stuff, election, and all this other stuff. The word got meaning. Then we got chemical, chemistry. So our body, this is in everybody's face. Your body works with electrical impulses and chemical reactions.
Doesn't the word chem mean to burn? Doesn't that come from a word that means to burn?
Okay, let's.
I have to look.
Probably because Spanish just came out.
But yeah, I don't know if they're related.
I don't know.
I'll look that up later. Yeah.
Well, chem in Hebrew is bread, and stuff. So
Lechem,
start
yeah.
making a connection, but it'll lead there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's there. You dig hard enough for etymology,
I'll figure it out.
it'll be there, right? But it's all going to lead back to the same place. So that's what's getting people. The electrical chemical reactions in the body. That's the ball game. Humanity's thing is they were just educated on the chemical aspects of things. The electrical aspect was left out of the window. Now we're coming along with the power of the electrical aspect, which is working with the light. That's what they can understand. The Western mind can understand. So now that when we teach in meditation, you're working with cosmic forces or electrical forces, whatever word you want to give it, to make chemical reactions. Where we get our protein and where we get... Serious. It's just reversed. But once you find out that, how should we say, energy can create chemical reactions, that's a whole nother ballgame. And your body does it all the time. Let's take sodium oxide. Sodium oxide. Now, sodium on a periodic table is a metal. A charged particle. Then you got that word oxide, oxygen. which is a gas which is flammable. You put them together, sodium oxide, that's salt. When they come together, that's salt.
That's why water is salt.
Salty water all around us. And then we got so much information now, they'll tell you your body produces it through the what you call it, the olfactory system.
Yeah.
That's we're using words like ohm and stuff. Your body is making those two elements together to create a molecule. It's happening at such a deep level all the time. That's why they say energy can't be created or destroyed. It just go into something else. If an electron leaves one molecule and get attached to another, it just made something else. It don't need you to do that. We didn't know that. Oh man, your body been doing that. We just been getting in the way. I had to do that study on grounding one time. Well, okay, no shoes on grounding, but we took it to another level. Here we go now. Y'all ready for this?
Drop it.
Let me get the wording. We got this word called vitamin C. And when we think of vitamin C, we think of oranges. I need to go get some vitamin C. But what do you need vitamin C for? What is it? You need it for because it's an antioxidant. So what you need an antioxidant for? It helps break up free radicals in the body that's harmful for the body. How do they get there? Smoking and eating. No, they'll tell you.
So eat more.
Eat more oranges.
Here we go. So you're eating your oranges, you're getting your vitamin C to get that antioxidant, but this is where it gets good. Coming from the earth, it got its own electromagnetic field, we're living in it. Here we go now. And you got what you call free electrons. What is a free electron? Well, you got all these molecules all over the place, but some just have extra, how should we say, electrons, but it can easily leave that particle and go to another one. It's free. It's moving. It's a current. So when you connect to the earth and you ain't blocking it with the rubber, you're going to get those free electrons coming into the body. They're all over the place. It's good. But what is a free electron? An antioxidant, they'll tell you. To do what? Break up free radicals. Uh-oh. One gives off toxicity, the other one doesn't. And all you got to do is take off your shoes. See how you start learning how to read deeper into things? So take it off your shoe, how y'all connected now, you're getting vitamin C. It start making sense to you, having meaning, having value. Before it was like, okay, this feel good. It's a hippie thing to do. But now I gotta go get my nourishment.
Dude, I put shoes on and I can feel the difference.
Yeah.
You can feel the difference.
I feel so disconnected and yeah.
Oh, man. Because you cut off what?
Especially if they're rubber.
Yeah.
You cut off that free electron flow.
Yeah.
And we can go deeper. That's just one aspect. But you see how the energy created something that the body needed. It didn't need you to digest this way. Now, me and Shayna was talking yesterday, because we was talking about in the West, when they talk about herbalism, especially when it first came here, it was always how to take it, how to ingest it. The other part of the science didn't make it here, but now it's here. Now, I forgot what word she gave it. They call it spirit dosing. You ever heard that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Spirit dosing. You don't got to ingest it.
You just be with it.
You could be with it and get the same thing.
What?
Yeah, just it's like.
Take the orange.
Like even the smell of sage.
Yeah.
You know?
Right now we're getting, it's like this whole thing of nature
Forest bathing, right?
Forest bathing. Right now we're amongst all these trees and plants, and they have specific chemistry, specific spirits, and things that they do, of course, and our electromagnetic, field is interacting with their electromagnetic field. So just by being with them, we can receive the medicine.
you receive the medicine. And this isn't far-fetched. 20 years ago, I had a machine called the harmonic translator. They got many names now, and I just did a video with somebody in Phoenix with one, where you can give a person a herb or a medicine through a frequency. You can send it through an email.
You can also just hold like a leaf in your mouth, you know.
But see, if they could, but see, we'll believe that now when we could see a machine that could do it. But that's happening with you all the time.
And to demystify it, if you're around someone that's negative, you can get that poison. And you be around someone that's positive, you can get that.
Absolutely.
medicine too. That's,
We're medicine.
we don't even need to get all
We're
that.
medicine
Yeah.
or we're poison.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a teacher. This just really, when you said this, it made a connection for me. One of my friends, he showed me this video about is quantum reading. Has anybody heard of quantum reading?
Yeah.
So you probably heard of speed reading, but then there's also quantum reading. There's a lady in Japan that had a school of children, and she was teaching them how to quantum read, which is basically what we're talking about, spirit dosing. But they did it with books.
Right.
So they were able, they didn't have to actually look at the letters or the pages. They could just ruffle the book. They
Right.
could just put their hand on the book. They could just feel the book's energy, and they would know what the author was trying to say.
Right. Right. And that's not far-fetched. But see, when we talk these things, we'll say, man, you don't need to go to the Himalayas. You'll get to the point where you start working with the light. All you need to do is hear it. All you need to do is hear it. This is where it boils down to at the end of the day. When I started my journey, and see, that's why I tell people, what journey? It wasn't no breatharian journey. I started a journey of being a light worker, the best ever. Listen at this. So it got to the point, all I needed to do was hear something, and I'll manifest. I didn't even have to go look for a teacher no more. That's what light can do. Go figure it out. That's good, ain't it?
My
Bring it to you.
one of my martial arts instructors, one of the other Russians and stuff, he used to say, just watch me, just watch me.
Yeah.
And if you see it happen, then it's in you. It'll come out eventually.
And there we go. And that's how, and actually, that was the old school teaching.
Yeah.
I seen one time this Chinese movie, they was fighting over this great Chinese manual that had this art form in it. And I'm like, well, it must be deep. But when the dude got it, first of all, it was like this. It was thinner than this. And all it had was pictures on it.
Yeah.
Of somebody in a certain position. That's all it was. Now we'll say, man, but that's just an old cheap movie. That's the right way to teach. And he started mimicking the moves. Once you learn the basics of something, you should be able to look at it or hear it and recreate it.
His caution was that he's like, you see, there are like 100 of us there or whatever. He said, you see 100 people here, and most of them aren't watching. They're trying to memorize something, or they're thinking about it.
Right.
They're trying it out in their own head without actually just watching what's there and letting it sink in.
And letting it sink in. And so, and I'm glad we're talking about this because everything is mental. The breatharian journey, you start, as you're working with the light, it got to make sense on how it's nourishing you. Once it get in there, it start breaking fear.
It's what they call mirror neurons. When you see someone doing something you want to do, your brain is actually figuring out how to do it.
Figuring out how to do it. So when we talked about this alchemy process, you're working on this journey. You're figuring out how to do it.
And the reality is, like, if you see something, that means your brain presented it to you, right? Because it had to come in. Your brain had to
Exactly.
process it. So if you do see it, that means it is in you.
And if it excites you particularly,
Right.
naturally excites you, then you're like,
Then there's energy going that way, and it'll show up.
That just means algebra was never in me because I watched it.
Yeah.
It wasn't there.
Right. but
It
that's-
wasn't. It ain't in me.
So you just got to keep watching. Or
now I can dig it on this esoteric level.
Yeah.
So on this journey, initiation of the flame, it's the light that purifies, the fire that purifies the vessel. So that's why you're meditating and doing all this other stuff. You're using the heat that's inside of you that you already have to keep burning up the stuff that's not supposed to be there. Do we got this? you're an alchemist then if we want to give you a title. If you don't want to use to say I'm a scientist, you're an alchemist. Now somebody say, oh, that's that ancient stuff, that don't mean nothing. I seen this Star Wars episode where I guess they created that Death Star with their technology. This is good right here. So the person said, look what we created. He was talking mess to Darth Vader. Now we know who Darth Vader is. Somebody you don't play with. But he thinks since they got that new technology, we got the Death Star, he think he could talk crazy to Darth Vader. And he told Darth Vader, y'all into that ancient stuff. You know, he put it down. So Darth Vader turned around, choked him across the room, using the Force. Right, now I ain't telling y'all to get your Force to go start choking people to prove a point. But this is what we're talking about. The ancient knowledge does work, and if anything, they was working with the light, period. Period. We done walked away from that. Now it's just making this resurrection back. Now, we got to say, man, how far could it go? Well, get curious to go find out.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Here we go. Oh, man.
Because it's not ancient knowledge if you know it.
It's not ancient knowledge if you know it.